Ghost Recon, a tactical shooter with 18 installments to the franchise, arguably the best tactical military shooter on console during the early 2000s. Today, I want to start a discussion regarding its current status. Ask yourself, are the developers living up to the Ghost Recon standard? Does the game resemble what Tom Clancy had originally imagined? Are the developers going in the right direction? And if not, how can we help a company and a well-respected name from being tarnished? Since the first game of Ghost Recon in 2001, the mechanics and basic gameplay have undergone rapid changes, from tactical first-person shooter to the present day of its arcade-style characteristics. Though this change has been welcomed by many, and the number regarding profits for Ghost Recon is still somewhat healthy, it's clear that everyone, including the majority of fans, are starting to become unsettled. With Ghost Recon's most recent titles like Wildlands and Breakpoint seemingly taking a step back from its military realism roots and 2 steps towards an arcade military shooter, the hardcore veterans of the series have felt kicked to the curb in the past decade. Some fans crying out that the game needs to go back to its golden era. Advanced Warfighter and Future Soldier being the #1 most requested returns within the franchise. The Golden Era. Advanced Warfighter, developed by Ubisoft and Red Storm Entertainment, allowed players to command their team while neutralizing hostile forces, and they did this while completing various mission objectives. This style of gameplay was considered the Ghost Recon standard in the early 2000s, and these objectives can range from escorting friendly units across the map, rescuing hostages, or taking out enemy artillery. The game emphasizes using cover effectively to stay alive, working together in coordination to complete mission objectives. Metacritic gave it a score of 90 out of 100, and Electronic Gaming Monthly praised the game's stunning next-generation presentation and high entertainment value, and they gave it a score of 9.5 out of 10. The game was almost an instant classic. The marketing team for Advanced Warfighter managed to sell well over 1.5 million copies and was the fastest selling title for the Xbox 360, being nominated and winning Best Technical Achievement and Best Game by the British Academy Video Game Awards. Advanced Warfighter 2 was developed by the 2 companies who led the previous title to instant glory. Much of the gameplay remained similar to its predecessor. The combat focuses on the player doing the bulk of the fighting, while relying on tactical combat to overcome the opponents. The biggest difference between GRA 1 and GRA 2 is the ability for a chance at teammate revival. This newly added feature led to more tactical gameplay as online teammates stayed closer together. In Future Soldier, the game is a third-person cover-based shooter. Pulling the left trigger causes the over-the-shoulder view to zoom in. This allowed for more precise aiming, increasing the tactical feel of the overall game. Clicking on the right analog stick causes the game to switch to a first-person camera, which lets the players look down through the iron sights. Fans of the previous title Advanced Warfighter either loved or hated Ghost Recon revolving around third-person. Though it is obvious why it was made the new standard for the series, successful military titles like SOCOM were leading the sales in multiplayer for PlayStation. They had 10 installments, they were the biggest online competitive gaming at the time for PlayStation, and they even spawned mega million-dollar tournaments like SOCOM Battles, which I think you guys know now as Game Battles. Everyone has heard of Game Battles tournaments. Game Battles would not be here today without SOCOM, or at least you gotta give it some type of credit because it almost gave them inspiration to make the company, like me with SOCOM HQ. Now, with Tom Clancy and his very clear agenda of taking over the third-person market, he started a side project called Predator, and this was supposed to release on the PSP in 2010. By that time, the developers of the SOCOM series, Zimper Interactive, had 3 previous titles of SOCOM on the PSP, and they released these titles over a 5-year period. Zipper had built arguably one of the most powerful and popular spin-offs of a game series in recent history, and you guys probably know the name Fireteam Bravo. And this title really helped Zipper establish themselves as a clear successor. In 2010, both SOCOM and Ghost Recon would release on the PSP, IGN giving Ghost Recon a 6 out of 10 and SOCOM Fireteam Bravo 3 an 8.4 out of 10. You can see some similarities between the two games, and to be honest, since this was Tom Clancy's first shot at a PSP title, I have to be more lenient than Zipper's 5-year head start. After the release of Predator on PSP, Tom Clancy, now having successful titles on the PlayStation Portable, the PC, and the Xbox, him and his team finally set their eyes on a whole different platforms market. And at the time, this was the Nintendo console and their handheld system. So Tom Clancy's plan of dominating the third-person military shooter genre was falling into place, or so it seemed. So following the month after the release of Predator in November of 2010, Next Level Games and Ubisoft announced Tom Clancy Ghost Recon for the Wii console and Shadow Wars, which would release a year later for the Nintendo handheld system. Ghost Recon for Wii absolutely bombed with critics. Metacritic gave it a score of 46 out of 100, IGN gave it a 3 out of 10. Shadow Wars in a sense saved the franchise as far as scores go, receiving a 77 out of 100. I mean, it's respectable, definitely not something to brag about. I'm not saying Metacritic is religion, and I'm not saying their score is the final say, but in a sense, it should give you like a general basis about its reception within like the hierarchy of the gaming industry. This now leads us to Future Soldier, which released in 2012. This was Ghost Recon's saving grace regarding multiplayer action and tactical warfare. This game was met with praise by most fans of the series, only some being annoyed by the futuristic style, but Ghost Recon fans just came off almost a 3-game spree where it was very mediocre gameplay, not a lot going on, not a lot of innovation, not a lot of excitement, and here is Future Soldier. It really saved the franchise in my opinion. But Ghost Recon wasn't the only series that like fans were dealing with huge changes to core gameplay. SOCOM fans were dealing with SOCOM 4 at the time, which changed the gameplay and mechanics rapidly. It traded its tactical gameplay for a more arcade-style shooter, and even added a feature so players could use the brand new Sony motion sensor gun. And that was horrible, a horrible decision when you're trying to involve tactical third-person shooter mixed with toy guns and things that kids would be interested in versus an actual adult. I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone loves going to an arcade and using the gun that has a motion sensor, and you can actually play a hunting game, or you can play the game where like you're a police officer hunting down bad guys. But people don't want that in a SOCOM game. SOCOM was supposed to be tactical third-person shooter, and now it's arcade style. The hardcore fans of the series were disappointed. Zipper Interactive soon fell after, and their 10-year dynasty reign came to a brutal end. This leads me to my last part of the video. If we do not learn from history, we are doomed to repeat it. This statement is fact, and Ghost Recon should take notice. Many beloved titles have fallen over the years, swept under the rug. They are a clear example of why changing core mechanics to a successful series is almost always a bad idea. Never take away from your fans. Always add to their ideas. But before you do, ask your fan base. Run community polls. Most importantly, listen to the ones who care. The ones who supported the franchise from the start. Your veteran fans. There's a reason why your games became successful. There's still hope for redemption, and trust me, that is better than what most deserving titles currently have. At least you guys have hope to change things around. It's not too late. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate if you can give it a thumbs up. And also make sure you subscribe for more content. Comment down below what you guys think Ghost Recon's next game should be like, and also, do you think Ghost Recon games were better in the past, or are they better now in its present state? Have a good one. SOCOMJohn out.